Hello, this is Mayor Chris Bolways, and welcome to another edition of Our City. I hope all of you enjoyed the Easter celebration, those of you that celebrate it, as well as those in the Jewish community who are celebrating the Passover holiday. And come April 12th, those in the Muslim community will begin to fast during the month of Ramadan. So we keep all of the religious communities in our city on these three holidays in mind. A few things going around the city of Elizabeth this week. Locations and websites where you can register for the COVID-19 vaccine. Here in Union County at Kane University is ucnjvaccine.org. For the CVS pharmacy availability, visit cvs.com. For Stop and Shop availability, you can visit stopandshop.com/COVID-vaccine. You may also register on the state website, covidvaccine.nj.org, and that is for Trinitas Regional Medical Center, ShopRite, which is located at West Grand Street, and other locations. COVID-19 testing is still happening in the city of Elizabeth. We want to thank Trinitas, one of our great partners, supplying 2,500 a week. FEMA just completed 3,000 vaccines, and the County of Union will be doing Pfizer vaccines at the end of this week. We will announce that number tomorrow in a call to the neighborhoods. City of Elizabeth Department of Health and Human Services, we're also continuing to offer free testing at the X-Laven Recreation Center in April on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. In addition, there is testing at the Sampson Center on Anna Street Mondays and Wednesdays from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. There's also testing going on at the Portuguese Club during the week, and if you want those times, you can call our Public Information Office at 820-4124. An appointment is not necessary. They accept walk-ins, but insurance is not required. However, if you have health insurance, please bring it with a photo ID. Drive-through testing is also available at Kane University on Mondays from 8 to 12 and Thursdays from 8:30 to 12. You can book an appointment there at ucnj.org/COVID-19 or just call 908-214-7107. We all must continue to follow social distance rules, wearing our face masks, even if you've been vaccinated. Whether you are out or not, keep in mind when you have visitors over, people in the car, it is safe to wear your mask. Wash your hands as frequently as possible, and if you need any more information, you can call our Public Information Office at 908-820-4124. Now, at the end of April every year, we celebrate Environmental Day, and we work with Future City. And I'm pleased to be joined by Carol Savona and Carol Savona and Karen Quintero of Future City. Carol is the president of the Board of Trustees, and Karen is a student and intern at Future City. Welcome to the show, Carol and Karen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, and I'm also pleased to be joined by Ms. Courtney Worrall, who is the president and CEO of the Waterfront Alliance.
Thank you so much.
It's so good to see all of you. I know we're doing this via Zoom, but it comes across really well on our cable access channel as well as our Facebook channel, and I appreciate you all taking the time out of your schedule. So, Carol, why don't we start with you? How are you managing? We're a year into COVID now. You've always been really active with Future City. How have you managed over the last year?
Doing fine. Just being careful, doing all those things you just outlined.
And Karen,
it's really important to keep up safety.
Good. Karen, as an intern, young person, must be a little bit of a struggle in connecting with people. How are you doing, Karen?
I'm doing fine. I usually try to keep in touch with my friends as much as possible virtually, and it's gone pretty well so far.
And Courtney, you've always been extremely active in the waterfront issues. How have things been for you over the last year?
Well, they're good. We've been able to reach a lot of people through Zoom, actually, and so that's been a great way to keep connected. And I think a lot of people are really excited for the possibility that, in the next several months, we'll be able to meet in person and do some of this great work in person. So that's the hope.
So Courtney, have you held some Zoom meetings regarding issues that affect the Waterfront Alliance?
Yes, we have. We do educational programs. We have one coming up, I believe, with Elizabeth, and we do a lot with students. So letting people know about the harbor and the water that surrounds our region, and letting people know about the ecology of it, the importance of the port, everything that goes into what's important for our coastlines and waterfronts.
And Karen, as an intern, tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you still in college, or where are you in life right now?
So I'm currently a student at Drew University, and I'm majoring in biochemistry and molecular biology. As you mentioned before, I am with Future City. I've been with Future City Inc. for 2 years, and I've engaged in a lot of Elizabeth events discussing public spaces and how it impacts our daily lives. And I'm also a part of the Fish Advisory, where we mention the Elizabeth Waterfront, the Newark Bay Complex, and the Arthur Kill Blueway, and how potential contaminants may enter these bodies of water, and how it impacts marine life, and how consuming these marine life can have an impact on public health.
So my nephew Luke is going to Drew, Karen. He tells me that all of the classes are virtual. Is that correct? Do you have any lab work, or are you all virtual?
Currently I am all virtual, but some students that I know, they are doing hybrid. I do have lab work that is virtual, and it's going pretty well so far.
It must be a little struggle, virtual lab work.
Yeah, but we get it done in a certain way, yeah.
So Carol, thank you for being the president of the Future City Board of Trustees. Were you elected in a very close election for that title?
I don't know the actual vote outcome, actually. But I am the president of the Board of Trustees, and I've been with Future City for about 15 years. I'm a retired teacher with the Elizabeth Board of Education. I was a science teacher and a science coach for over 37 years.
I know.
And Environmental Day is a special project for me because it has important messages and it has a big impact on the students.
Courtney, why don't we start with you from a public policy perspective? Why is it essential for water workshop information to get out there? I've been at numerous Future City events, and they do such a great job in educating our students and getting them from different schools to the Peterstown Center. Naturally, we can't do that this year and put them all in the same room. But Courtney, workshop information is something that you work on a lot. Tell us the essential need for that.
Yeah, well, one of the things is that we know that COVID-19 has shown us that we're really vulnerable to some of the threats that there are in the world. Pandemic is one, but the other is climate change, which is coming up. And in fact, some people have called COVID-19 the dress rehearsal for climate change. I think what's really important is for people to more and more connect to the environmental issues in their area, to understand what's going on in the environment. We all depend on it for our life, and we depend on it for so many things. And so as we can expose people to how great it is to learn about the environment and ecology and what's going on in their surrounding communities, it'll make us more prepared in the future for the new future that we're going to face with climate change.
And Karen, can you provide us with a review of April 30th and what the remote workshop partners will do that day?
Of course. So April 30th is the day of Environmental Day, and Environmental Day will consist of a variety of workshops where they'll present multiple perspectives on public spaces and how they have an impact on public health directly or indirectly. And basically, this event will provide students a way to stay informed on environmental issues and how they can stay informed and what personal actions they themselves can take in their everyday lives to create a more resilient future.
Karen, are you able to use the effort you put in here on a voluntary basis for your education at Drew, or is it your education at Drew that helps you here at Future City?
I would say it's a combination of both. Currently, I'm in a public health class, and everything that I've learned at Future City very much correlates a lot with my class right now. So it helps me a lot with the assignments that I'm doing and also with the exams that I'm taking.
So Carol, tell me about the partners and how they've responded to the progression in these valuable workshops with the students.
Our partners have been really responsible during the time that they presented with us. When environmental disasters such as Hurricane Sandy occurred, the lessons included the impact of that event on Elizabeth and New York, New Jersey coastline, as well as the future implications of shore flooding. Since then, there's been lots of flooding implementation, flood prevention strategies, which have been started along the shorelines. And that's also being shared with the students. It's also important to educate people about the littering and in the streets, because that affects our sewers and causes overflow locally. And our partners are always up to date on what's happening and pass this on to our students. Environmental or climate changes are very real, and we require immediate and constant attention. Our partners are very informed and pass that on to the students as they do their workshops.
You get young people like Karen who buy into this issue, but how do we convince the masses on the need to focus on climate change?
Well, I think one of the things that's really important is to talk about climate change. My sense, and I think the sense of a lot of people, is it's something that people don't want to talk about because it's uncomfortable. People feel like maybe it means doom and gloom, and there's been a lot of negative information about climate out there. But I think that it's really important for people to not be afraid to talk about it, and also to talk about the things that we can do that are solutions to climate change. I think that can make people feel a lot more comfortable. So one of the things in particular, and I'll just mention as an example, is the importance of parks and the importance of outdoor space, especially near the waterfront. That protects us from flooding those areas, but also those parks are really important for the environment and for cooling us off on really hot days. So if you're just connected to your park maybe and thinking about it in terms of climate change, one little thing, if that helps you get motivated, could be enough.
Yeah, hopefully. Karen, what motivated you to get involved in the studies you're in, as well as participating in Environmental Day?
Definitely overall helping people stay informed and helping create a change, whether it be small or big. I think that any change can help lead to a more sustainable and resilient future for us and for future generations.
So how do older folks like us convince Karen, your generation, the importance of this issue?
Definitely letting us know that anything that we can do, whether big or small, can definitely have an impact, and also staying informed, like providing us information on anything and everything to do with what is going on currently, and also what modifications we can do in our day-to-day lives, especially during school or on our way to school or to work, because of a very packed schedule. It can definitely be a little hard to keep track of things. So definitely mentioning all of that will help.
So we're going to take a short break, run a few commercials, and then come right back if you can stay with us for a couple of seconds.
Okay.
This is Mayor Chris Bolwage. Please stay with us after these messages. Hello, this is Mayor Chris Bolwage. We put together a short video of people in Elizabeth who have been vaccinated for the COVID-19 virus. It's important to recognize that while we are in short supply of the vaccine, we are doing our best to get the vaccine into as many arms as possible. As more and more product becomes available, more and more people will be able to get vaccinated. We're currently doing it at the Peterstown Community Center. We hope to open up at the Dunn Sports Center, and Kane University is a site as well. Keep in mind, registering and getting on the website is extremely important. As more and more vaccine becomes available, I want to encourage all of you to get the vaccine. This vaccine is safe. This vaccine has the ability to protect all of us from COVID-19. While we're not going to be able to get rid of our masks anytime soon, and the recommendation is now that we wear a double mask, it's extremely important to continue to wash our hands, to wear masks as frequently as possible, to do your research and to talk with people who have been vaccinated. But most importantly, when your turn arises, get the vaccine. This is Mayor Chris Bolwaite. Please stay safe.
Hi, my name is Cheryl Abdurrahman. I am the health educator in the Department of Health and Human Services, and we recently rolled out our vaccine program. When the clients come in, we have a checklist that we ask. Some of the questions that we ask is, have you tested positive for COVID-19 in the past 3 months? Have you traveled in the past 14 days? Has anyone in your family tested positive for COVID-19 in the past 14 days? And have you had any signs or symptoms of COVID-19 in the past 14 days? Also, we ask that the CDC has a program that you can download on your smartphone. It's called VSafe. VSafe is an app where the CDC monitors each patient who comes in and gets vaccinated. They ask if you have any side effects. You want to make sure that you call them. Also, please remember to practice social distancing, wear your face mask, and to continue to wash your hands. Even though you've been vaccinated, we want you to stay safe. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Krishna Garlick, and I'm the Director of the Health Department for the City of Elizabeth. And I just wanted to take a few minutes to kind of thank all of our partners and our leaders for coming together for such an important cause, and that's the inoculation of our community and our residents and our healthcare workers here in the City of Elizabeth and beyond. I want to do a special thanks to our Board of Education, our nurses from the Board of Education, our mayor for his leadership, for the County of Union, who we could not have done this without you, for all of our department directors and staff in recreation and public works and in public information. I also would like to thank all of our public health nurses and our public health education department just for a yeoman's job, and our health officer who has just been amazing, providing great leadership through this process. I know that there are a lot of people who had concerns and fears around getting the vaccine. I too shared some of those concerns, but decided that for the best interests of public health and our residents and our community, and being able to get back to some semblance of normal, that I was going to take the vaccine. And I am encouraging you to do the same thing after you speak with your doctor and get approval that it is the best course of action for you. And more information regarding the COVID vaccine can be found on the state website. Also, if you'd like to schedule an appointment, you can visit the website and register to schedule an appointment at our Peterstown Center or one of the other locations in the city or in the county or throughout the state. Thank you.
Welcome back to our city, and I'm joined by Carol Savona, Karen Quintero, and Courtney Worrall. And Carol, let me start with you in the second half. You've been involved with Future City now for 15 years and Environmental Day and Earth Day. How have you seen it grown over the past 15 to 20 years?
Over 21 years ago when we started, Environmental Day started out as a simple waterfront event. And eventually we recognized the Arthur Kill as a blueway whose health was really important to the people who lived around it. The Army Corps of Engineers and the Coast Guard were with us from the very beginning. Environmental Day developed into this annual tradition where students were invited to all-day workshops, sometimes indoors, sometimes outdoors by the waterfront, where they'd learn about environmental concerns and presented through the eyes of local organizations such as Future City, the Elizabeth Board of Ed, and the City of Elizabeth. We also continued to work with the Army Corps, the Coast Guard, the Waterfront Alliance, the New York, New Jersey Baykeeper, and to share different current information. They always kept really current, and were able to keep us up with what was happening, and even things that we didn't know about, and what we could do to keep the area healthy. During the pandemic, we transitioned to virtual presentations, and this is where we're reaching a lot more students now through the virtual presentations.
Karen, one of the things you've been an advocate for youth and families actively walking in Elizabeth. Share your insights regarding this very important public health issue.
Of course. Walking is definitely a benefit, not only physically, but also in mental health. And walking is some form of exercise that doesn't require you to go to the gym at all. You can go to a regular public space like a park and just walk around. Walking is simple, but it has a lot of benefits, like helping your blood circulation, which increases your blood flow and oxygen flow throughout your body. And that helps reduce a lot of cardiovascular disease risks that may appear. And it also helps in having your muscles and ligaments very active and very not aging as quickly, because our bodies do age a lot quicker than we normally do in our birthdays. So staying active definitely helps stop the aging process a little bit. And also in mental health, it just helps with the aesthetics. Like, nature is very known to help cool us down and really just settle us and calm us down. So I definitely recommend it.
So I walk 4.5 miles every morning, and now since COVID hit, I walk 4.5 miles every evening because I have no events to go to. So I'm a walker. Problem is I do the same route. Maybe I need to expand it a little bit. But Cortney, can you share the intersection between walking and climate change resilience in public health? It's an interesting connection there.
Yeah, it's really important. Everything that Karen just said is so true. But I guess what I'll say too is that one of the things that's so important is just become aware of your community. And one of the things that we have to pay attention to is that there was a recent law passed in New Jersey that each municipality now has to incorporate climate change data into its resiliency plans and its plans for the future. So if you're paying attention, walking around and enjoying your community, also pay attention to the opportunities that are going to be there for you to say what you want for your community in terms of the preparation needed for climate change. So I guess I would say with walking, it's an action you can take to do all the things that are important, and just think about your community, what you love about it, and make sure that you're using your voice to make sure that you help to guide and steer the future for your community and your city.
So Cortney, changing gears a little bit, your organization, the Waterfront Alliance, and you personally have a long presence with us here in Elizabeth. Can you share with our residents information regarding your ongoing efforts?
Yes. So the law I just talked about that was passed was a result of the work that we've done with Elizabeth and many communities and organizations across the New York, New Jersey metropolitan region. You can go to waterfrontalliance.org and sign up for our newsletter. Also, look for the Rise to Resilience Coalition. That's the coalition that's working really hard to make sure that the laws and the plans that we have are preparing us for the climate change future that we have. So you can find information about the Rise to Resilience campaign on the Waterfront Alliance website.
Carol, you've talked about 21 years of a history here in the city of Elizabeth on working on with Future City. What do you think are the next steps locally that our students and residents can take?
Oh, these next steps are always in our thoughts. And they continue to involve making the residents and students aware of what is actually happening through environmental and climate change, and helping them realize that one person can make a difference. We found that people think that they alone can't do anything, that they can't make a difference. And that's not true. They think that they can't even help the planet, or at the very least, the city of Elizabeth. We want them to work toward a healthy future. We want students and residents to feel that they can be informed and have a voice in keeping our city a healthy place to live.
One of the things we did in Elizabeth is we put out a tree proposal that if anybody wanted a tree in their front yard, their backyard, the curb area, we would come and plant a tree. My goal was 2,500 trees over 2 years. We reached about 1,800 trees, and then COVID hit, kind of slowed down the whole application process. But the value of trees, and Karen, you're the biology student. Why don't you explain the carbon dioxide / oxygen issue with trees on how it helps the overall environment and climate change?
Well, overall, trees and other types of greenery, they help filter out any particulate matter that exists in the air as well as carbon dioxide. So with doing that, it helps cool down the area that has those trees, which helps not only the surrounding areas, but also the area where the trees are.
And Cortney, when you talk about trees, what else can residents do in an everyday way? How do we move on from here? You work with a big group. How do you tell people, Waterfront Alliance is a big group. How do you tell the average person what you can do?
Well, I think that the most important message is that every little thing you do can make a difference. So if it's recycling, if it's composting, if it's making sure that the trees in your park are healthy, that that there's someone taking care of them, or you're finding out who could be helpful so that your park is vibrant. And I would say also that if you're involved with your local government, with your city, in either making sure you vote or telling your elected official, telling whoever represents you, the mayor, the city council members, telling them what it is that you want for your community and for the future, that's the way to get involved. And we will provide as many opportunities as possible for people to get involved as well. But a lot of it just starts at the local government level and getting involved in one way or another to use your voice.
Carol, how do people get in touch with Future City if they want to help volunteer with this great organization?
There's a few ways. They can contact us on our website. It's futurecityinc.org, futurecityinc.org, or write to us at 1045 East Jersey Street, Elizabeth, New Jersey, 07201. That's 1045 East Jersey Street, Elizabeth, New Jersey, 07201. Or call us at 908-659-0689.
And Karen, how did you find Future City? Are you an Elizabeth born and bred here, or how did you find Future City?
Yes, I am. I was born and raised in Elizabeth, and I actually met Michelle at a doctor's appointment where she actually mentioned Future City and what they do, and that's where I got on board.
How great is that? Sitting in a doctor's office and you meet somebody that says, hey, why don't you come by and volunteer for us? Michelle has always been aggressive, and you were referring to Michelle McBean, who helped start it, who's been a great advocate for climate change. Cortney, any closing comments?
I would just say that don't be afraid of climate change. Get involved. Find out what you can do, and make sure that you're telling people that you care, including your family, your friends, and especially the people who represent you in the government.
Carol, Savona, I want to thank you for taking the time on the show. Karen Quintero, thank you very much, and lots of luck in your studies. And Courtney Worrall, for all of your work with the Waterfront Alliance. We appreciate your efforts in helping us gain a knowledge about climate change and passing it on. Thank you for your time here on this show. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
This is Mayor Chris Bolwage. We'll see you next week on another edition of Our City.